Imagine a beautiful tropical country where a liter of gasoline costs less than a liter of water in a Polish store, a place that feels like the American dream. Wide roads, massive pickups, and sports cars. On top of that, there's vast open space, a high level of safety, a more efficient healthcare system than in Europe, and an economy that allows its citizens to live a decent and peaceful life. Plus, there's endless summer, but without Dubai's dangerous heat. Malaysia has everything, from beautiful beaches and mountains to diverse cuisine and prices that seem unbelievably attractive to us. A year ago, I showed you a 330 square meter house in shell condition in a well-located neighborhood. The price, which in Poland would only be enough for a small apartment in some backwater, here allows for much more. Today, I'll show you what this property looks like now, and I'll answer right away that yes, a Polish citizen can legally buy exactly the kind of house that is available here in Malaysia today. And during this video, I'll show you how much all the additional work and finishing cost. But keep in mind, this isn't just an episode about real estate. This video is a must-watch for anyone who is struggling with stress and professional burnout. If you're an employee who's had enough and dreams of working remotely under palm trees, or even if you're an employer who's losing huge amounts of money due to the rapidly increasing number of sick leaves, L4 and P3. If your team falls apart, today I'll show you a solution you simply can't ignore. We cover a lot of topics here, from buying and renting a house, to the cost of living, all the way to the brilliant workation model that can save your health and your businesses. See for yourselves what life looks like on the other side of the world and why escaping to Asia is easier than you think. The house we're looking at today is located in the Bandar Botani Parkland estate in Jasin. It's a great strategic location. We're less than 2 hours away from the modern center of Kuala Lumpur and only 23 minutes from the nearest coast. Of course, I'll be honest with you here. The Strait of Malacca is one of the busiest shipping routes in the world, so these aren't white sandy beaches. But it's a perfect place for an evening walk to feel the sea breeze, watch a brilliant sunset, and eat truly the best fresh seafood straight from the boat called ikan bakar. On the other hand, if you're looking for those truly idyllic, postcard-perfect views for a whole day of sunbathing, you just get in a car, and renting one here is really cheap. In an hour and a half, you're at the charming Blue Lagoon in Port Dickson, and a 3-hour trip takes you to the stunning East Coast. Sure, that's quite a distance, but just look at it. It's all natural. You'll never experience such water temperatures in the Baltic Sea, but here you have it, along with beautiful weather almost all year round. With the local fuel prices, a whole day trip like this, including transportation, food, and sunbeds, costs you less than a single plate of fish at the Polish seaside. So you might ask, why am I showing you a house in the suburbs of Malacca today, instead of a luxury apartment in a skyscraper right in the heart of the capital? Because this is where real everyday life happens, the kind that many expats are looking for. You can see that everyone has moved here from all over. There's always a party going on there, there's always dancing, but we all come back. We spent a few weeks here and didn't see a single tourist. The community you'll meet here is 100% local. And let's not hide the fact that the cost of living, renting, or buying property in a neighborhood like this is a whole different league, which for many Europeans just sounds unrealistically good.
We're in a new neighborhood where my partner's parents bought, of course, a new house. Today the sun is shining really brightly, but yesterday I took advantage of the fact that it rained a little and recorded the whole garden, and basically the interior of the house as well. So now I'll show you how everything looks a few months after episode 5.
The driveway easily fits 4 cars. Basically, the whole family can park here. If someone else comes, there's still space here. As for this roof, as you can see, it was done together with the neighbors. I mean, the same crew was hired so that it would look the same. There's an LED strip there, which is basically easier to see in the evening, and that's what we'll do. Take a look at how it looks after dark. Everything is very well lit, and the long LED strip along the edges adds that modern touch. To clarify the topic of the neighbors, my fiance's dad simply made an arrangement with them to hire the same designer and the same construction crew. Thanks to that, both houses now have a consistent, elegant look and significant improvements have been made to them. Those of you who watched the previous video about this house probably remember that she was very disappointed with the original roof design over the driveway and considered it a huge waste of potential. Well, there was no access to the balcony from the main bedroom upstairs. What you see now is the result of that major investment. Thanks to this, the area under the roof has increased several times. The new roof now covers not only 4 cars, but also protects the entire walkway along the side of the house from the sun and tropical monsoon rain. As part of this work, the fence was also replaced from a standard developer-grade fence to a solid masonry wall. And most importantly, thanks to this investment, we finally gained a large covered patio on the upper floor. But from the modern driveway, we smoothly moved to the side garden. This space is just starting to come to life. My parents moved in recently, so the plants, as you know, need some time to take root. This perfectly shows the difference in the approach to arranging a house in Malaysia. The neighbor next door took the quick, practical route. On the first day, he rolled out sod and had a ready lawn. Here, the choice was different. Instead of grass, my parents went for their own tropical edible garden. If you've watched my previous videos, you probably remember the old house where papayas grew like crazy, and in the garden there were coconuts, pandan, and ginger. Here, we still have to wait for such harvests. A bit further, there's potato leaf growing, which are the leaves of sweet potatoes. At the back of the house, you'll find a detail that I really appreciate in new buildings: a green rainwater tank. The tropics are famous for the fact that despite the sunshine, almost every day there can be a heavy downpour that sometimes lasts 15 or 20 minutes, and then it's beautiful again. Of course, this refreshes the air and waters the plants, but there are also a few days without any rain, when the garden would dry out in no time. Thanks to this kind of system, which the developer provides here as standard, you are protected and watering is practically free. It's ecological and economical. This entire side strip of land is a huge advantage for corner houses. After all, such a garden doesn't have to be used only for growing vegetables. This place is also perfect for a large table, a grill, sun lounges, or setting up a pool, and maybe even a trampoline for the kids. This extra private space that separates you from your neighbors is something people in Europe pay a lot of money for. As soon as you step inside, the first thing you notice is the complete departure from the cramped hallways we're so familiar with in Europe. Here, you walk straight into the heart of the home. Even though this one is 330 square meters, the ground floor has been designed so that each area flows smoothly into the next. There's no wasted space here on unnecessary corridors or partition walls. Right from the entrance, you can see how the living room connects with the dining area, and everything seems incredibly well arranged. But before we take a look around the living room itself, I have to show you something that is the absolute heart of this particular house, and which you can see right from the entrance. This altar is an expression of respect for the family members who have already passed away. The parents light incense sticks here every morning and regularly rotate the offerings, such as drinks or fruits, like these oranges symbolizing prosperity, or traditional cookies. Of course, when the fruits ripen under the care of the ancestors, they go straight from the altar to the kitchen, so absolutely nothing goes to waste. And right now, my dad came over and mentioned that there's a light switch over there. There was an LED there that I didn't know about, so I recorded some of the shots without it. But now you can see how it looks when everything is lit up the way it should be. It looks really beautiful. Like I said, it's right at the entrance to the house, so you can pay respect here, especially to the ancestors. When you look at this living room from a wider perspective, standing closer to the kitchen, you can really see how big this space is. Also, pay attention to the ceiling. There's a long LED strip running there, which aesthetically and stylishly matches what we saw earlier outside by the driveway and the fence. And since we're already looking at the ceiling of a house in the tropics, we need to talk about providing thermal comfort for the residents. When it comes to controlling the fans, well, there are two fans, you could say devices here for controlling them. They're currently disconnected from these switches, and there are many of them over there. And that's definitely enough. Of course, the air conditioning also has to cover the whole house, which sometimes gets used, definitely. But as you can see for yourselves right now, when everything is open, it's definitely pleasant enough. Maybe not cool, but the temperature in the house is okay. Getting back to the controls, this whole wall of switches can be at least a little overwhelming at first. It looks a bit like mission control, but don't worry. After a few days, everything becomes second nature. A large area also means huge windows. In the corner of the living room, we have heavy double curtains that fit perfectly with the modern, yet still very warm, Asian style. On the side, practical Roman blinds have been installed. Right next to the entrance, there's a neat little engineering detail. Since so much effort and money was put into creating a cohesive interior design, it would be a shame to leave a simple fuse box in plain sight. A clever solution was used here. This deep decorative picture on the wall is actually an elegant cover. It perfectly hides the entire distribution board without disturbing the aesthetics of the hallway. Let's move on to the lounge area now. The sofa here is a real beast. You just don't put something of this size in a standard European apartment. Besides the fact that it fits a plush hedgehog in a little hat, it has another great feature. Look, you can easily move the backrest away. Thanks to this, the seat depth increases so much that probably 7 people could sit here comfortably at the same time. Right next to the couch stands a statue of a woman with a water jug. Dad bought it many years ago in Vietnam and brought it to Malaysia. It's details like these that give this place its character. Opposite, we have a large but not gigantic 75-inch Samsung Smart TV. My parents don't watch traditional TV. From time to time, they might only turn on YouTube, so luckily entertainment in the living room isn't a priority. For now, there's not even a dedicated audio system here because they simply don't need it. Beautiful decorations are more important to them, which is why there's a special glass display case to the left of the TV. Inside, it has the same LED strip as the one on the ceiling or outside the house. There are decorations here covered with real 24-karat gold, but I want to emphasize right away that they are only coated, not made entirely of solid gold. If even one of them were made of pure gold, it would probably be enough to buy several houses like this. And since we're already sitting comfortably in the living room, there are always local treats waiting for guests on the coffee table. What's inside them exactly? See for yourself. When it comes to snacks, well, in Asia in general, at least my beloved's family doesn't often eat any sweets. I have a sweet tooth, but these kinds of sweets are made, or actually usually bought, locally. Or is it maybe a friend, some acquaintance, who makes and bakes these wonders by hand? I know that some of them were about 1 ringgit 50 cents each, so you could say it's quite expensive, about 1 zloty per piece. But as you can see, it's handmade, handcrafted. Great ones made with quality ingredients. For that, my beloved's mom roasted the cashews herself. Very tasty. It's really nice when they're roasted a bit more. These are my favorite cookies, bought from my uncle's store for 5 ringgit. I mean, the package was bigger, I've already eaten some. 1 full big one, there's not much left. There are also some drinks here right now, so the house always has to be well stocked. It's very important that when guests come over, everything is just as it should be. Just a few steps from the lounge area is the dining area. I'm deliberately not calling it a dining room because thanks to the open plan, it all forms one cohesive space. The main feature is a large round table with 8 comfortable chairs and a rotating center section. In Asian culture, this is an absolute standard. This setup makes sharing dishes incredibly easy and makes shared meals feel much more communal. This entire area is perfectly lit thanks to large triple folding doors that open the house to the side garden. Earlier, I showed it to you in pouring rain, but look how everything looks on a beautiful sunny day. From the dining area, I walk into the covered part of the garden, completely barefoot. In Malaysia, walking barefoot around the house and on the tiles outside all year round is just pure everyday comfort, something we can forget about in Europe. I know you can see some things in the frame here that slightly spoil the architectural impression, but my parents moved in recently and some of the stuff is still looking for its final place. Just ignore that and pay attention to a certain technical detail. I recorded this in the late afternoon. Retractable blinds were installed on the roof edge to block the western sun from heating the house wall. They effectively block the harsh sunlight. Remember, if you appreciate that the family made an exception because I asked them if I could really record, you know, it's a bit awkward. I mean, this is a private home, it's not a showroom, and they allowed me to record everything. So for you, for my viewers, for people from Poland, so you can see what life looks like. So we're literally looking into the kitchen and we're literally looking into the fridge. So if you appreciate that my partner's parents were so kind to let us record all of this, then remember to leave a like. Even if not for me, then at least for them, because it was really nice of them, very nice of them to allow something like this, to share it. Because obviously nobody would want someone to come in with a camera into their private life, you could say. And here, as you can see, there were guests, we tidied up a bit, but here's just some tea left unfinished. This is a house where people live, where they go about their lives. So, okay, let's move on to the kitchen then. The dry kitchen, which is the one inside the house, will go through these doors in a moment. In this indoor kitchen, you usually only prepare quick meals and drinks. Actually, everything you need in a kitchen is here. We have filtered cold water and also a dispenser with hot water. Here is a large cooktop, although it only has 2 burners, but they are really powerful. They work great, but this is not where the main cooking happens. Since even at night the temperature outside is between 20 and 26 degrees all year round, then why cook inside the house? After all, it unnecessarily heats up the interior, not to mention the steam getting into the furniture and curtains, and all those strong smells. Why would anyone want that? It's more comfortable and pleasant outside. Of course, above this part of the wet kitchen, there's a roof that extends all the way from the driveway. You'll find a washing machine here, another sink, burners, a second large refrigerator, and a full work area. Just take a look at it yourself. It's February, and I'm walking here completely barefoot. You can cook and prepare meals here outdoors all year round. And just to clear up any doubts, there's no issue with bugs here. Of course, there are some flies, but no more than in Poland or Ireland. At least that's how it is here, which actually surprises me, because about 300 meters away, right at the edge of the estate's fence where I go running, there's a huge oil palm plantation. Actually, maybe I'll show it to you now. Here, around this little lake, people go jogging. Here is the whole estate with houses. And look how nice it looks. Those are some pretty big palm trees. And not just here, but they stretch all the way over there, far along that whole rise. Really something cool. It's probably private property, but it's nice to look at. The air is very pleasant and humid. Right next to the indoor kitchen, there's one of 3 bathrooms in this house, and right next to it, a guest bedroom. Sorry, in all the excitement, I forgot to record it for you, but don't worry, everything that's most interesting upstairs is already well documented. But before we go upstairs, let's pause for a moment. Imagine you decide to work remotely for a few months. Even if your employer has given you the green light, from a digital perspective, moving to the other side of the world brings real challenges. Your data travels through dozens of foreign servers along the way. Can you trust them? Probably not. No one wants even a single byte of communication between a work laptop and the employer's infrastructure to go out into the world unencrypted. When we travel, we always have NordVPN installed. The app encrypts everything that leaves your computer, and all that traffic is only decrypted on a secure server, let's say in Warsaw. From there, it goes straight to your employer, ensuring complete security for your work, but it's much more than just a tool for changing your IP. Figuring this out isn't difficult at all, but you need to know how. So to show you how it works in practice and not just talk about it, one lazy morning I recorded a few words about it for you. Sorry for my hoarse voice, but it was really a slow day. It's morning, I wanted to turn something on to play in the background. As you can see, unfortunately, there's no way to use Netflix, which makes Chin Chin disappointed because she likes the Polish language to listen to in the morning. At least lately, but we'll find a solution for that soon. At home, on your own LG TV or on an Android set-top box, I had no problem installing the NordVPN app, but unfortunately, here on this Tizen, there's no such option. However, I see that we can install another app and just get around it using DNS. I'll try that in a moment, unfortunately on Tizen. It takes a bit longer to get a VPN set up, but that's just a matter of the software itself. That's why I personally prefer anything with Android. It's much more convenient and much faster. Here, you had to configure it remotely on the router and set up the VPN. But honestly, it only takes about 5 minutes to sort it out. This mom is drying her hair, but you can hear. That's something from the bathroom. Well, we're doing a bit of laundry here, but as you can see, streaming also works in Polish. Nothing has changed here. It's still beautiful. It's February. The sun is shining. Right now it's 26 degrees Celsius. I'll catch something. 26 degrees Celsius. There's a bit more wind today. 13 kilometers an hour. The chili is still growing over there, so it's pretty much the same. We're far, far away from Poland. And here is a film in Polish with a Polish voiceover. We left the English subtitles because, of course, my beloved is speaking Polish. It's not the best, but you can watch it. As you can see, you can even do it just like I said on Tizen. It's 5 minutes more work, unfortunately, but it works. As you can see, bypassing regional blocks and the convenience of watching series in Polish is a great bonus, but NordVPN mainly gives you solid protection. Look, right now NordVPN has an option called Threat Protection Pro, which gives you not only anti-malware, meaning protection against spyware, but also advanced browsing protection and blocking of ads and trackers. So you don't need to use any additional external technical products like that. At this point, you get all of that with Nord. And of course, using it is simple. When I want to use my computer or work and I need a specific location, I just select the specific location here, and I'll show you in a moment. We choose Poland if you want. There it is, Poland, Warsaw, we connect, secure the connection. So of course, secure it, but also redirect it. At this moment, you can see that anti-malware is enabled, advanced browsing protection is enabled, and the ad and tracker blocker is enabled. We are connected in Poland at this moment, and I can now turn on the program for work, and my employer, let's say, will see that I am in Poland. Well, I don't need Poland, I need Ireland, so I'll switch right away. But I also wanted to show you one interesting setting, which will be here right now. So, in the settings, of course, by default, the application will start automatically. But what's important is the kill switch, meaning if you don't want to have any connection without a VPN, you turn on something like this, an internet kill switch. So, at this point, the application won't let you access the internet if you're not connected to the VPN for a given country, if that's what you need. So that even for a moment, your real location isn't revealed. With Threat Protection Pro enabled, you're protected from malware, malicious links, and annoying ads at every step. What's more, the built-in dark web monitor constantly checks if your data has leaked into the hands of hackers and immediately warns you about it. In the description below, I've left you my link. The link nordvpn.com/tmhd will get you a huge discount on the 2-year plan and as many as 4 extra months as a gift. And all of this comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, since our digital life is fully secure, let's get back to exploring. And since we've already covered the lower part, let's head upstairs. As you can see, the same LED strip design has been built into the stairs as well. After going up, we come across an open space, which you could probably call a small second living room. At the moment, there's only a sofa here, but Dad is planning to put a second TV here, or maybe even a projector. It's also a great place to build a massive desk for a gaming computer with several monitors, or simply create an open office area for remote work. The possibilities are endless. There's just one detail worth noting. This window faces west, so in the afternoons, the curtains that have been installed here will definitely come in handy. Now, let's go straight to the master bedroom from here. This is another bedroom, and for now, this is the one we're staying in. I mean, our bedroom. Our parents were kind enough to let us stay here for a while. Probably because I like the patio. So we can go out onto this little balcony. Here, but maybe in a moment. Right now, there's also a bathroom here. It's small. Hello? There's a bathroom. One important thing is to stand up. It's usually wet. Maybe not right now, but it's absolutely normal in this country to take a shower. Literally 34 times a day. Then we can turn on the light. You see, this is the walk-in closet. There's a full closet here. There's something buzzing at the top. Well, that's the exhaust fan. Exhaust fans are very important in Malaysia. That's because they extract the hot air. As you can see, there aren't too many pieces of furniture in the bedroom yet. For now, there's just a bed and one nightstand brought from the old house. The second nightstand and reading lamps will probably be added here over time. If it seems to you that the space is more compact than you remember, that's the result of a very deliberate design choice. Take a look at how this room looked a year ago, when it was unfinished. It was a very long, oddly shaped space that needed to be arranged. My parents decided to divide it, using custom carpentry with integrated doors. See for yourself how it works. I unlock the door panel, let go, and the door slowly closes by itself. It becomes perfectly flush with the rest of the wall. There's no handle, no external signs at all that there's another room hidden there. Of course, when you're walking around the patio outside, it's easy to figure out that something's off here, so you can't really call it a secret panic room. However, functionally, it's absolutely spot on. Behind that wall, they've created a proper walk-in closet, a place to get ready in the morning, and an entrance to the bathroom. Thanks to this, when one person gets up earlier, they can go behind the wall, close the door, turn on the light, and start their day without making noise or waking up the other person. There also has to be air conditioning and a fan here. When it comes to the fan and sleeping, we set the fan to the lowest setting. The extractor that's over there is turned off at that time, and that's enough. That's how you can sleep. As for these doors, that's a really cool little trick. You see, maybe let's start with that. Doors are just doors. Doors to the balcony, to the patio. That's normal, right? But here in Asia, it's common to have a second set of doors, which also have an extra lock. And this is what it looks like. It's a kind of grate. No little dog or cat can escape through here. A cat might actually be able to fit through and get out, but on the other hand, nothing bigger can get in. Yes, you can leave it like that, and we, on the other hand, can definitely sleep through the whole night when it's open. It's nice, it's dark, no one drives by, no one makes noise. It's a quiet neighborhood. There's also a control for the fan, which is currently located outside. Of course, I love the patio. As you can see, we've got a lovely drizzle right now. And here, we can actually even turn on the light. Look, just a moment. Everything works beautifully. LED, I suppose this will be LED. Oh, and this is an LED strip. Let's maybe turn everything on. That way we'll definitely get it. Oh, and the fan too. This fan here isn't necessary, but since we've already turned it on, it's on. That's how it looks. At the moment, there are only 2 armchairs and a glass here. We have a table from the old house. I used to sit at it almost every day and do some work. I love the vibe of this place, but let's be honest, from a purely ergonomic point of view, you can't really spend many hours in this position with a laptop. However, the potential of this terrace is huge. Personally, I would love to put some big, soft garden furniture here, or even a proper desk with a comfortable chair for remote work. Why? Because thanks to this new, solid roof and the ceiling fan, you can comfortably stay here literally all day long. You are fully protected, no matter if the sun is shining or it's raining. Either way, you can sit here all year round in shorts and a t-shirt. There's even a power outlet under the window, so having a desk with a gaming PC here might not be such a bad idea after all. Anyway, from the patio, we move on to the next bedroom upstairs. I have to admit, even though this room doesn't have a balcony, it's probably the most atmospheric space in the whole house. My fiancé's younger sister lives here, and of course, the undisputed ruler of this territory, a British short-haired cat named Fafa. It's a really cozy interior with windows facing west. And here's an important note. I know that for us Poles, seeing tiles on the bedroom floor immediately brings to mind visions of frozen feet, but believe me, that's not the case here. Personally, I can't stand the feeling of cold tiles, and every time I fly to Malaysia, I pack a whole bag of socks and house slippers in my suitcase. All of that just sits at the bottom of my bag because I never use any of it. The floor throughout the whole house is vacuumed and wet mopped almost every night by a cleaning robot. Thanks to this, the floor is not only naturally warm from the local climate, but also sparkling clean and fragrant. Walking barefoot is an absolute pleasure, but let's move on. There's a bathroom in the hallway. Notice that this is the 3rd bathroom that only has a shower. There isn't a single bathtub in this house. In Europe, with this amount of space, it would be rare, but in this climate, it's simply standard. If someone wants to sit in water, they sit in the pool outside. So why have it inside? I think there's some sense to it. Anyway, when you enter the 4th bedroom, you immediately notice that the architect had some interesting vision here. There are stairs and something upstairs. So what's this all about and where did the window go? This room surprised us the most last year because it was extremely tall and the window was all the way at the top. The parents decided to make use of that. They added stairs and created a second space up above, a mezzanine right by the window. When you go up the stairs, you'll see that for now there's almost nothing there except a mattress. And honestly, tell me, how would you arrange this space? What would you do with it? Bedroom upstairs? Downstairs? Or maybe make the whole thing an office? Or even better, a home theater downstairs and upstairs a sleeping area or a desk with a computer? Seriously, if you have any ideas, be sure to write about them in the comments. Looking at all this, you're probably wondering, that's cool, but where do you find the time for it? And the truth is, if you run your own business or work remotely, isn't it better to stay in a place like this, at least when there's a harsh winter in Poland? Well, I definitely think so, but even if you think it's not possible, just ask yourself one real question. What is really holding you back? Are you afraid to even try coming to a country like this for even a week? Thailand or any other place you choose? Isn't it more of a psychological barrier that you're worried, you don't want to, you're afraid? Or is it really something else? Because in most cases, it looks like this. You actually can, like I said, if you work remotely or run your own business. Then something like that is definitely manageable. And to a country like this, even just for a month, renting a house like that, look, there's one available over there. Actually, one of the neighbors here also wrote that they run a homestay. You can come here for a month, enjoy a different kind of life, see how nice and peaceful it is here. For the past few days, I've been sleeping absolutely great. My HRV, if you follow things like HRV, has finally reached optimal levels. I get plenty of good sleep. Life here is much calmer. It's not Singapore, and yet I still sit and work quite a bit. Every day I get some work done for a few hours without any special pressure. Life is really completely different right now, and if you want, you can really give it a try. And like I said, you don't have to move right away because that's much more complicated and requires a lot more. However, coming for 2 weeks or a month, I suppose, is definitely possible if you run your own business. Many things now can be handled by phone. Although the hours might be a bit problematic because here there's a 6 or 7 hour time difference, it's a bit different, a different time zone. But in my opinion, it's all manageable. By all means, look at the plain facts. In 2024, over 1.6 million sick leave certificates were issued in Poland due to mental health problems, resulting in a massive 30 million days of absence from work. The truth is, yes, we are overstimulated, burned out, and constantly stressed. In the past, taking sick leave because of stress was a taboo subject, but today it's clearly a plague that paralyzes Polish companies. The problem is that retreating into months-long sick leave rarely solves any problem. You shut yourself in at home, get stuck in a loop of hopelessness, and when you return to the same desk, the loop tightens again. But what if we reverse this pattern? Instead of quitting your job, you take your laptop, pack up your family and, I don't know, fly somewhere like Malaysia. Polish citizens can finally come here without a visa for 90 days. With the time difference, this setup is an absolute game changer. If you work Polish hours, your day in the tropics looks amazing. You wake up in the morning, go to the pool, the gym, take a walk in the sun, and you don't start work until early afternoon local time. You finish work at 10 o'clock p.m. and still have time to go out for some amazing late-night food. And I know it sounds pretty strange, but even teenagers meet up in shopping malls after midnight to eat and chat because it's cooler and more pleasant then. A complete change of environment, a 180-degree turn that recharges your batteries better than, believe me, any kind of therapy. For the employee, it's a huge advantage, but it's also a cold, hard calculation for employers. They lose a lot of money on the hidden costs of sick leave, decreased productivity, keeping a position open, and looking for replacements. Modern companies do something smarter instead of giving raises, which will be eaten up by taxes anyway. They rent a house in warm countries, buy or rent a car, and rotate employees for several weeks at a time. Workation, for those who don't know the term, is simply a combination of the English words work and vacation, meaning remote work from a place where you would normally go on vacation, simply workation. If an employee spends less than 6 months in Malaysia during the tax year, taxes and social security remain in Poland without any complications. A single trip on a tourist stamp allows, as I mentioned earlier, for a stay of up to 3 months without any visa. But there's also nothing stopping you from organizing several such trips during the year. On the other hand, the cost of renting a foreign property can be legally included in company expenses as an employee benefit. The employer can count it as an expense and the employee comes back refreshed and, most importantly, loyal, because hardly anyone else on the market will offer them a month or two of working from home in Asia in the middle of winter. If you think this makes sense and would work in your company, then go for it now. Copy the link to this video and send it to your coworkers or maybe even directly to your boss or the HR department. Sometimes one conversation like this can change more than a year of complaining. So, since we're already on the topic of health, I have to dispel the biggest myth that holds people back from going to Asia. Most of you think, what if I get sick there? Relax, this isn't India, Indonesia or Cambodia. The truth is, Malaysia is currently one of the biggest medical tourism hubs in the world. People from the United States, Australia or the United Kingdom are buying plane tickets en masse and coming here for complicated surgeries. Why? Because the private hospitals here offer absolutely world-class diagnostics, care, specialists and equipment. At the same time, all of this costs from 30 to as much as 80% less than in Europe. Last year, I recorded a video about this. You can find it on my channel. At the hospital, I had an MRI, a full abdominal ultrasound, an X-ray, cancer markers, EKG stress tests, and basically many more. In Ireland or Poland, I would pay at least several thousand euros for such a package, and unfortunately, I would wait for months. And do you know how much I paid in Malaysia? 1,350 ringgits is just over 1,100 zlotys. I walked in off the street without an appointment, and the same day, I was examined from head to toe. Imagine that in the context of our workation. The cost of round-trip plane tickets can pay for itself just with the preventive checkups you get for yourself or your employee. So on a trip like this, we not only take care of our frayed nerves, but we also get world-class medical diagnostics that you just won't find in Poland, and it's really for next to nothing. So if you're looking for that kind of reset, there are currently several houses for sale and for rent in this neighborhood, fully furnished and ready to move in. If you want, we can refer you to trusted local agents who handle these properties. If you prefer the pace of the metropolis, the pool and gym in the skyscrapers of Kuala Lumpur, then our network of contacts is even better. Well, my fiancée named Shili handled the entire process of buying our apartment, going through dozens of agents and developers. And here's an important detail. Shili has been working professionally for years in the field of financial investigations, anti-money laundering and compliance. So her experience and analytical approach helped us ruthlessly separate the wheat from the chaff. But just so we're absolutely 100% clear here, listen, none of us is a licensed advisor or agent, and we absolutely do not take responsibility for your transactions or for third parties. Everyone has to make their own decisions and take care of their own interests. What's more, we don't give financial advice and we don't provide such advice. But because we've gone through this ourselves, we've eliminated many potential developers and unsuitable locations from our list. And on top of that, we've gathered a list of professionals who can actually deliver. It would just be a shame not to share this knowledge. Shili was born in Melons and also studied for years in Kuala Lumpur. And he'll tell you that renting through Booking for a few weeks, well, sorry, that's a total ripoff. 1 or 2 days? That still makes sense, but there are actually better websites for students where you can rent a room or an entire apartment short-term. If you're seriously thinking about going to Malaysia, whether it's just for tourism, to work remotely for a few months, or maybe even considering buying property, then check out the description below. You'll find a link to a form there that will help direct you to the right people. Because the truth is, renting and going for up to 3 months really isn't that complicated. But buying such a house is a bit more difficult, though it's still nothing you can't handle. So let's talk quickly now about the costs my parents incurred using the house we're looking at today as an example. I'll be honest with you, it's no small amount. Of course, it's still a fraction of what you'd pay for the same work in Europe today, but here, labor and materials, well, some people might be surprised, but they also cost money. My parents were kind enough to share some of their invoices with me. Of course, I blurred out the sensitive data, but you can take a look at how the expenses scale here. What you see here, extensive custom woodwork, custom-made kitchens, household appliances, air conditioning, built-in furniture, a mezzanine, a hidden wardrobe, all of this adds up to about 150,000 ringgit just on the invoices alone. It's all here on paper. However, this doesn't include the costs of the biggest structural changes like adding a roof around the house, roofing the patio, or replacing the fence. Dad estimates that from when it was just a shell until now, the investment cost was about 300,000 ringgit, which is just over 260,000 zloty. And here, listen my dear friends, we come to a key piece of information. In Malaysia, there are price limits for foreigners. The government makes sure that foreign capital doesn't drive up the prices of the cheapest houses for local residents. To buy property, you have to exceed a certain value threshold. Thanks to all these investments, this property has safely exceeded that threshold, which means that a Polish citizen can legally buy exactly this kind of house here. What do you think about all this? Are you employees or employers? Let me know in the comments.